Here's something you shouldn't really worry about, but it sure seems to be a problem. Whenever someone core drills and then puts a metal handrail post into a concrete curb like this, and they seem to crack. You can see it right there, and again, it's not a real big crack, but I don't know how old this particular curb is either. I would guess it's less than 10 years old, and if it has this type of a crack, it's probably doing pretty good. One more thing I'd like to point out is most of the time the cracks like these, they go all the way through the curb, and it's just because they're so small. They don't really have enough width. They don't really have enough mass to prevent a crack like this from just kind of being a hairline crack on the surface of the top or even on the side. They easily go right through. Now, you will find these cracks throughout the curb, the concrete curbs like these, where they're not near a pole. They're just kind of in the middle there. I mean, concrete cracks, it's just something we need to accept. But most of the time, if we drill a hole and we weaken the structure, especially if we don't have a lot of width here, then we could end up with a crack. And it really seems like these are frequent areas to find cracks, and the major cause of that would be simply that you are weakening the curb. You're kind of like giving it a spot to crack. The moment you drill through it, you're basically telling the concrete curb to crack here, and that's just the way it is. Now, there are other structures like this one here that I don't see any cracks in, and I can't really tell you why. And of course, maybe it's a newer structure, maybe this, maybe that, whatever. Concrete does crack in some areas, in some areas it doesn't. It's not going to crack every single time you drill a hole for a handrail into a concrete curb. But like I said, it can, and it sure seems to happen a lot more often in those areas than in other areas. And I don't know, sometimes people say, hey, maybe put a control joint through these areas, but that would mean that you would need to know exactly where they were going to place the handrail post. And a lot of times, just like you got one person building the concrete curb, and then you have another contractor, a totally separate construction company, coming in and installing the hand railing. So I would imagine if you wanted to do something about that, if you wanted to put a control joint in there to reduce the cracking, or to at least have a crack in the control joint, you'd have to get together with the handrail installer and find out exactly where they were going to install the handrails. So I'd imagine that would be something that would be feasible. Don't forget, I was just talking to a guy who said that they used to put bottles, glass bottles in the concrete, and then instead of core drilling, they would put the glass bottles in while they were pouring the concrete. They'd let the concrete dry and simply break the glass out. And this gave them the hole to put the hand railing in. I always thought that was a neat idea. So there's a little added bonus to that video. Don't forget, hit me with the old thumbs up button if you like these videos, and feel free to leave any comments and ask any questions in the comment area.